Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown. This week featuring Wake up, wake up. Can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Make it strong, please. Hey. Oh. Hey. Wake up, wake up. No, really, can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up.
Good morning, Bob.
Hey, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
So good. This Atlantis cruise is the best time I've ever had in my life.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill you.
Did you?
How was the Atlantis cruise?
It looks like a hot mess.
I know. If you haven't been paying attention to social media this past week, images of the Atlantis cruise, which is a gay cruise, went like semi-viral. Speaking of viral, right?
Aw. We have friends that are on that boat, so I don't want to talk too much smack, but it was like I don't think I would want to be on there under normal circumstances.
Yeah. Exactly. It was like a sea of guys wearing nothing but like harnesses and like camo like underwear.
Thousands. I think there's like 5,000 people on that boat.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what my hell looks like.
And I wasn't even aware, I'm a little checked out of the news lately, but I went to bingo at the A House on Wednesday, and Thirsty was like, it was the first one in a long time. We have a 3-minute video of it to show you guys later. But, she came out and she was like, oh God, super spreader, just like that boat. And I was like, oh, I wonder what she's talking about. And that I only found out because of Thirsty.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it was like harnesses, clack fans, and I imagine illicit substances.
Who can say?
Yeah, who could ever say? But where are you?
I am in New York City. I would show you the Empire State Building outside my hotel window, but I'd probably drop the computer, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you're all tethered in. Well, first of all, thank you to all our viewers for hanging in there with us. We just started a few minutes late. Jonathan's out of town, Bob's out of town, so there's a lot of little technical things that we've got to figure out to make it all our viewers for hanging in there with us. We just
but it's working, right?
Minutes late. Yeah, we're nailing it.
We didn't even, you guys, by the way, it's Friday, January 21st. Thank you for waking up with us wherever you are. We have a lot of really exciting news for the next couple of weeks, don't we?
Yeah, we do. This is next week. Me and Bob, me and you are going to be together in Palm Springs shooting our show.
Our first off-site special episode. Wake up in Palm Springs.
Next week, me and Bob. Yeah, we are going to be recording it at 9 a.m. in Palm Springs, which means that the next week's episode won't air until noon. Here in Provincetown on the East Coast, 12:05 exactly. Which next week's going to be more technical difficulties, possibly because we'll be on the other side of the country.
But we're learning.
12:05. Yeah, we're figuring it out. So, are you going straight from New York to Palm Springs? Or are you coming back to P-Town?
I'm coming home Monday to host trivia with you, and then we leave Wednesday.
What are you up to in New York?
We're seeing some shows tonight.
Well, I'm very jealous of one of them specifically.
Which one?
What do you know?
The MJ musical?
No.
I know, I'm kidding.
You're very jealous of one of them specifically.
We're seeing that tonight, the Michael Jackson
Which one?
music, MJ. And then tomorrow we're seeing Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman do The Music Man.
I am so jealous. That is going to be so iconic.
It has a special place in my heart. It was the first musical I was ever in. I was in the Barbershop Quartet in my 10th grade year of high school. And it was the first musical Michael Ponte had ever been in. He was like a little boy, so he was one of the kids. And he's coming to see it too.
Oh, that's so cute.
No, I'm going to cry.
A couple of our viewers came into the Reddit and they were talking about The Music Man specifically. And it wasn't that they always said they don't have a song together as a couple. They have a musical together, and it's The Music Man because her husband had was music directing The Music Man when they started dating, so it like always holds a special place in their heart. And he was what's the word? Conducting for an orchestra that was doing The Music Man on one of their anniversaries. And the love song for Music Man, what was that? Then There Was You?
Yes. Till There Was You.
Till There Was You. And when that song started, his friend stood up in the audience to conduct, and he turned around and sang it to her. They told me that story at the Reddit, and I started crying behind the bar. Like,
wait, that's JPO, isn't it? Judy Palmer O'Toole.
Yeah.
Judy, if you're watching, I'm going to see that. And Sutton Foster was out for COVID, or out due to COVID for, I think, 10 days or whatever. And then Hugh Jackman was out for 10 days with COVID. And so now hopefully they're both better and back in the show. So I guess we'll find out
I always have bad luck whenever I go to see a Broadway show with the idea of seeing a specific person. That person's always out.
No.
Every time. I went to the revival of Les Miserables when it was supposed to be Lea Salonga as Fantine, who's like one of my favorite Broadway actresses ever, and she was out. But I mean, obviously, it's always incredible. It's always amazing.
Right. And then also Sunday we have a matinee of Cecily Strong doing Lily Tomlin's The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It came out in the 80s. Lily Tomlin's wife wrote it. Lily Tomlin won a Tony for it. It's like a one-woman show. She plays like 15 characters. And Cecily Strong, who I'm pretty sure is still on Saturday Night Live, is doing it now.
Oh, that's going to be killer.
Yeah, that one was Barry's idea. And then I'll be back on Monday.
Cute. Sounds like a fun little weekend.
Yeah, totally. How was your week?
I might my week was busy. It was all about grants.
That's great.
Yeah, I worked on a grant for us here at Wake Up in Provincetown, and also I don't know if y'all know, but this past summer I joined the Visitor Services Board, and now is our big time where we're evaluating a bunch of grants. And it's my first time. It was a lot of fun, and mostly learning about all different events and things going on in town through their grant applications was really fun. A lot of events that I had never even heard of, so I'm excited and looking forward to those.
Can you talk about any of them?
Obviously, I can't talk about their applications or anything, but one thing I didn't even know happened was there's a women's flag football tournament in the fall.
I didn't know that either.
Me either. I'm gonna have to go check that out. That sounds killer. We'll have to have one of their organizers on the show when they are coming around.
When is it?
I want to say the end of September.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to go check that out. But it's been going on for years. But that's super exciting to learn all that new stuff. I want to say the end of September. It was also so my two roommates, Samuel and Stefan, Samuel got a job in DC, so they are like splitting their time between Provincetown and DC now, and they basically moved out of the apartment because they're going to spend the next few months getting set up in DC, so I have the apartment all to myself, which was nice this week.
Mm-hmm. Did you run around naked the whole time?
Duh, just Winnie the Poohing it constantly.
Shirt on, no bottoms.
Exactly. But I locked my door for like I think the first time ever. I lock the door while I'm like in the house, but if I leave, I never lock the door just because like P-Town, like I'm gonna get robbed now. But I locked it for the first time, not because I was worried about anything, but because I like had a substantial amount of dishes in the sink, and I didn't want anyone to stop by and get into my apartment and see them.
I think I just assume that there's always dishes in your sink.
No, I'm pretty good about it. I mean, I think that is a fairly good assumption.
Yeah.
Considering how well you know me, but I'm actually not too bad at it. No, I'm pretty good about it. I mean, it's snowing here in Provincetown. What is it? What's going on in New York?
It's frigid and sunny. It's 14 degrees. I think it might get up to 24 today. It's really, really beautiful from in here. I think it's probably pretty bone chilling, bone rattling out there.
Yeah, but chilly in New York isn't so bad.
You know, you get to bundle up, and you're not outside for very long.
Yeah, it is snowing here in Provincetown, but the question remains, is it an emergency?
Did you move your car?
My car is not parked on the street, so I don't have to worry about it. But I also signed up for I didn't get a text, so I'm assuming it's not.
It's not.
Because I did sign up for those texts last week. Not an emergency.
What are you predicted to get?
But I also signed up for I didn't even know it was going to snow. Oh. I have no idea.
Does it look like it's sticking?
No, it's kind of just flurries at the moment. I think it was flurries on and off all last night.
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah. Another thing I did this week, I finished Station 11, which was the TV show I was gabbing about last week. Highly recommended. I kind of hope I would be entirely okay with it if it was just like a one season thing and they never did any more. Just because it was like a very well done season. The storylines, I was very satisfied with where they ended up. But I mean, I'll also take more, obviously.
I mean, I've read very little about it, but the one thing that I did read was like, oh, series finale, blah 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 blah. But who knows?
Oh, it said series finale.
Yeah, but that was just one article. I mean, and it wasn't the authority. It wasn't the network that made it.
Yeah, they might have just misspoke.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But you loved it.
Yeah, it was so good. You got to start. Okay. Speaking of shows you love that I started is I started watching Yellow Jackets.
How far did you get?
It was just a few episodes.
Do you think it's fun?
Yeah, it's good so far. I'm here for like a female driven show. I love Christina Ricci. I love Juliette Lewis, but I have a question that I feel like you probably know. The kind of like the third main actress,
the Melanie Linsky or Tawny Cypress?
Yeah, Melanie Linsky. I think she plays like the woman who's kind of like the like. She's kind of playing like a housewife.
Yeah, that's Melanie Linsky.
I think she's like because she's like the third of that trio, and like Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci are so iconic. I looked her up, and I don't know I've never seen her before, but she's in everything.
I know you didn't see Don't Look Up.
No.
You need to watch that. She's in that, of course, but she's been around since the mid '90s. She and Kate Winslet had the same first movie.
Yeah, what movie was that?
Heavenly Creatures.
Right. Is that what she's kind of like known from? She like blew up from that, or?
Yeah, they blew up together. They just had very different paths.
Right. Well, it was so weird because I was like, I don't really recognize this woman, and then I looked her up on IMDb, and she has like 6 movies a year since 1995, and I was like, how?
Mm-hmm. And she's from New Zealand, and I don't think, probably not since her first movie has she played someone from New Zealand. She's always doing an American accent.
Yeah,
but I love her. You know, she was in that Drew Barrymore Cinderella movie way back when. Do you remember that?
No way.
Yeah.
I remember that movie, but I don't remember her being in it.
She was one of the sisters, and she was like the kind of nice one. She's always the kind of nice one.
Yeah, she very much plays like sweet very well.
I remember that movie, but I don't remember her.
Yeah.
We'll strap in because Yellow Jackets gets wild. Now that it's over, I need to talk to Jonathan about this because a lot of people are like, oh, I thought the first 4 episodes were great, and then it kind of went off the rails for me. And then, of course, Cooper the other day was like, no, I thought it ended better than it started. So there's a lot of different opinions on it right now.
Interesting. I haven't gotten that far enough to like kind of have a guess to see where it's going, but I'm hooked.
Good.
But the one thing, like, I know I've talked about this on the show before, but I'm a very nervous passenger and specifically a very nervous flyer. And I'm flying to Palm Springs next week, and I don't need like every night to watch TV where it's like, let's watch that plane crash again. The second they started that scene where it was like the first instance of them showing the plane crashing, I was like, I don't need these images in my brain.
Oh my God. Don't worry. You're going to be fine. You're going to make it to Palm Springs.
Yeah. If anyone has a Xanax I could borrow, that would be great.
Where are you staying? You have everything worked out already?
Yeah. I'm kind of bouncing around because I'm not sure what I'm going to want to do once I get there. I'm committed to being in Palm Springs till at least Saturday. And I might like try to like scoot up to Joshua Tree for a night or two, maybe go to LA, San Diego. So I kept like the second half of my trip kind of open and I can just bop around.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see what we got going on. Today is the 5-year anniversary of the Women's March, which I think is exciting. Yeah, 5 years ago today, I was in Key West. I had just finished my first summer in Provincetown, and then I was spending my winter in Key West. And that was such a weird time because I arrived in Key West the night of November, what was that, the 3rd, the first time Trump got elected, and basically checked into my hotel room for that night, turned on the TV, and then like realized what was happening and was like obviously stressed about it. So I was like, I'm gonna go grab a drink. And people were like celebrating in the streets because Key West has like it's Florida. And I was just like, having spent the past 6 months or the past 10 years in Boston and then the last 6 months in P-Town, I was like, where the fuck did I just move to?
It's weird to think that you started working at the Red Inn during the Obama presidency.
Yeah, wild. But so like the Women's March, like obviously there was a huge turnout for it. The Duval Street was entirely full. We had sections of that pride flag that was created that was like miles long. But there were not just as many, but there was a substantial amount of people like on the sidewalks kind of like yelling pro-Trump sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird.
Wild times.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in Thailand 5 years ago today.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
With my family.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. This past week was I worked ramen night here at the Provincetown Brewing Company. You saw last week we had Chef Liam on to talk about it. It was super cute. We had a really great turnout, and it was so nice to see so many viewers come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people that had watched the show last week came in to hang out for ramen night. Patrick and Jose were our first two guests, and like halfway through, they were like, "We came because we watched this show last week," and I had like my mask on, my glasses on, my hat on, so I was like, "Uh-huh," and they were like, I could tell they were like, "Is that you?" Because like they couldn't quite tell, but it was me. It was really cute. So it was really great to see a lot of our viewers stop in for ramen night and hang out.
What did you do the night before ramen night? Wasn't there something fun on Tuesday?
So this past Wednesday was Senator Sears' birthday, and for Tuesday night he rented out the Water's Edge Cinema, one of the theaters there, and this was the second year we've done it for Julian's birthday, and last year we watched Sister Act 1, so obviously we watched Sister Act 2 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun because sitting right behind me was Mike Flanagan.
Oh.
And I learned very quickly that this is one of his favorite movies ever,
mm-hmm.
because he was reciting every single line.
No.
He was basically like shadow casting the whole movie. It was really fun. Yeah.
Does it hold up?
Oh my God, it's incredible. Literally the movie ended, I was like, what a perfect movie.
What?
It's just fun, and you're never going to have a bad time watching that movie.
Hold on a second. What?
There's an echo. And Mark wants you to maybe turn the
I already did. Yeah, I did. Sorry about that.
Everything okay?
Yeah. No, I missed out on that. I really wanted to go because I've only seen Sister Act 2 once, like maybe when it first came out.
Yeah.
And in my memory,
because if like
the first one is just so much better, right?
I don't think so. I think they very much they brought all the magic back. Yeah, I want to see like a continuation of the Sister Act series where Whoopi Goldberg dresses as a nun, goes into a failing business, and then saves it by making a choir.
Just over and over.
They like,
and over.
Yeah, they go to like a failing hair salon, and there she's like, "I know how I'm going to save it. We're going to make a choir."
Why didn't you come to bingo after a ramen night?
I worked at ramen night, and I was just beat. How was bingo?
It was really, really fun and very lucrative. So,
for who?
I won $100.
Okay.
And Eric won like $300.
Damn, I didn't know you could win that kind of money at bingo.
Well, the last game, every ticket is $5 instead of $1. So, depending on how many people are playing. And it was, it was nice that the person who won the big prize was at my table with me. And there's like a little snippet of him in that video, because that final game is like a coverall. You have to get every single spot pulled.
How long does that take?
It takes a while. She goes faster toward the end, but at one point I could see that Eric only had like one left, and I'm like, oh my God. That's like a lot of money to just randomly win in the middle of.
In January in Provincetown, totally.
Right.
That was the first bingo.
That was
of
the first
season.
One, yes.
Cute.
And Thirsty,
and that's going to be.
She just beat cancer, and It's nice to see her back out there having fun and making everybody laugh, and it was very, very heartwarming.
Oh, I love that. And Julian brought his friends out, right, for his birthday?
Julian came. Everybody sang happy birthday to him. I didn't capture that on video because I was running around and singing and, doing whatever. But yeah, I think he had a very nice birthday week.
Yeah. One of the highlights from the movie night was his friend Kelly made a cake for him, and she, I think, is a James Beard Award winner or at least a nominee, and the cake was incredible. It was like a regular cake / ice cream cake combo, and it was so good. Yeah.
Chef Kelly Fields, we're going to have her on the show this winter.
Oh, yay. Perfect.
It's going to come on in March.
That's perfect.
I know Julian was like, there's cake left over, and it was like 11:30 at night at that point, and I was like, I wish I could come over for ice cream cake right now.
Right. There's some stuff going on in town that I think you'll find interesting.
Tell me.
There's news in the Independent today about potential talks of having pickleball courts in the East End.
Wait, where in the East End? Not near my house.
I think they're talking about turning the basketball courts behind WOMR into pickleball courts.
Like near the East End Market?
Yeah, like kitty corner to the East End Market.
Okay.
Yeah, I know some other things that have been happening that have happened in that area. So I know they're the neighbors are organized.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood that complained about the theater being outside, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure if they're quite close enough for that, but
you don't have to be that close to a pickleball court to complain about it.
Wow.
No, I'm saying you can hear it from like further away is what I'm saying.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
This is just going to be like an ongoing. Nobody wants a pickleball court in their immediate vicinity.
Right. I mean, there's also talk of them going to Mata Field in the blurb about it, and I think the talk was because the fields at Mata Field would take a really long time and be very expensive, where they could quickly transition the basketball courts to pickleball courts and it wouldn't be that expensive. So I think it read like it was like a little bit of a Band-Aid for the problem until they get it open in Mata Field.
It's a Band-Aid for the West End. This is like a gaping wound for the East End.
Right.
I mean, you're just going to piss off different people.
Yeah. Mark lives right by there, so he just raised his hand.
Mark lives right by the East End Market.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, you're going to have to tell us how this goes.
Yeah. Did you order your free COVID tests?
I did order my free COVID tests.
Good for you. That's good. You'll need one after you get back from Atlantis.
Oh, wait, you know what? Oh, shut up. But how much of that cruise have you seen on your own personal feed? Like, do you have friends that are on it?
I have one friend that's on it, but he's not posting a lot.
Oh, okay.
Is it on your feed a lot?
Not a lot, but enough.
Right, to like see what's going on. It's just this one picture that keeps popping up. It's just that one like overarching shot of the whole deck.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of deck. Anyhow,
it's a lot of what?
I forgot to talk about last Sunday, which was my first day of clamming for the season.
Oh, cute.
You know, this is one of my favorite wintertime activities, and I haven't been able to get out yet. But this past Sunday, I finally did. Is now a good time to show them this 1-minute video of my opening of the clamming season?
Yeah, let's put it up.
I like that one because I think it's 6 times. Hey, you found us. Oh, figure it out. Hey, dog him off. Oh my God. Pass your test. I did. What's going on?
Really, really happy with that batch of clam chowder. I mean, we left right away, so I only got to have like one bowl of it. But then, the point of clam chowder is to like bring it around town and give it to your friends. Like you can't.
I
can't
must
eat
have
it
missed
all.
my delivery. I must have missed my delivery.
Tommy has yours. Tommy and Joey have yours.
Oh, perfect. I'll stop by and pick it up.
No, but it came out so good. But speaking of delicious food, wait, what?
Did you make the clam chowder?
Yeah, of course.
Or did Tommy?
No, I did.
Oh, cute.
No, I did.
Cute.
But Tommy had he goes clamming every weekend, so he was like, he has a giant full basket, and he's like, I don't even need these. Do you want them? And I'm like, you're just gonna give me your entire haul? It's more about like just the fresh air and the exercise for him sometimes.
Oh,
And he's
totally.
like, I don't even need this.
Yeah, and they get eaten anyway, so
Yeah.
even if he's not eating them,
They don't ever go to waste.
yeah. Speaking of delicious food in Provincetown, did you see the theme of next week's dinners at the canteen?
Is it Vietnamese?
It is Vietnamese. I know. Was it last week or the week? It was last week, where you were kind of lamenting the fact that it's really difficult to get really amazing Asian food in town.
It's true. Well, I mean, thanks to Liam, we get ramen once a week, but this should be really fun. I think they've done Vietnamese week before. They make a nice pho. I haven't had everything that they have to offer yet, but I'll go this week before I take off for Palm Springs.
Yeah. They often run a banh mi on their regular menu through the year, which is really incredible. So I'm excited to see what they've got up their sleeve for Vietnamese week.
Yeah, that was like one of their original signature dishes was that cod banh mi.
So good.
Yeah, so go say hi to the guys over at the canteen this week if you're in town.
Yeah. Speaking of cute businesses in town, did you see that Rebecca Archon just posted on her socials that she got a book deal?
That is amazing. Cheers, Rebecca.
Rebecca Archon is one of the owners of Pop and Dutch, kind of one of my favorite sandwich shops in town. She's written for other things. She's written for HuffPost before. She's often writing about like what it's like to work in a restaurant. I think she also had a blog through COVID, which was really fun. But her book is going to be a kitchen memoir, and I'm really excited for that.
That is amazing. Aw.
I can't remember that I was reading a post about it, and she had this little quote about what it's like working in a restaurant, and I literally teared up while I was reading it because it was such a beautiful way. Because like a beautiful way of talking about working in a restaurant in a kitchen. And I know it's like I've worked at places where there's people you work with who like you constantly butt heads. You're constantly kind of like you don't see eye to eye in a restaurant. It's like in a working together day to day. But if they were to like call me and be like, I need you to drive 3 hours and bail me out of jail, I'd be like, fine. Because like it's you really do become like this family, because it's almost like I'm not sure if this is the proper term for it, but like foxhole syndrome, which is where you're
totally.
Like you go through this like traumatic experience together, and it like bonds you forever, and you just like have to care about those people because you went through this thing together. So I'm excited to see Rebecca's take on working in a kitchen and in a restaurant.
That is very exciting.
Yeah. You're not flying back through Cape Air, are you?
No. What happened?
Cape Air announced that they're gonna they are announcing that they're gonna stop flights through April 1st.
Wow. But we know it was like Peter Wisdom or somebody was like, I had already purchased my return flights from whatever vacation they're on now, and they just got canceled.
What'd you say? He purchased his rich friends' flights?
Return flights.
Oh, great. Perfect. I was like, okay.
Return. No, he like even if you already had a trip like booked and paid for March, it's not happening.
Yeah. There was an article in the Independent about it, and like not to like shit all over this person because I understand, but they interviewed this person who was just like lamenting he's like this is going to be so inconvenient for me. I have a place in Florida and a place in P-Town, and I like to go like back and forth every 2 weeks. This is just going to be so hard for me. And I was like, yeah.
It's going to be hard for a lot of people.
No, I know. But it's definitely going to disrupt a lot of people's lifestyles and like how they move about. And I know it's important to have ways to get to Provincetown in the winter, because this could also affect our local economy. Totally. But I'm hoping it won't.
We shall see. I mean, it's definitely going to reduce the traffic, but I mean, how many people arrive by plane every day? 10?
I don't know. I'd love to see the statistics on that, Bob.
We're gonna find out, and we'll tell you next week.
Right. I know you didn't watch, but I did kind of want to talk for a second about RuPaul's Drag Race. There's been two episodes so far. Both of them, each one of them introduced half of the cast. So last week after the show, that night, I got to be introduced to the second half of the girls, and it was a really fun episode. It was a talent show, just like the first episode, and that week had a lot of dancing queens on the show. So the talent show was a lot of fun.
Do you have a new favorite, or do you still like Willow Pill?
Willow Pill's still kind of my favorite, but a couple of the girls impressed me more in that episode than they had in their like promo images and their Meet the Queens interview. So it did kind of fluctuate. It did change who I'm like really excited to see, but definitely still most excited to see Willow and Cornbread. But one of the queens who I'm really excited to see what they're going to do moving forward is Maddie Morphosis. I don't know if you've heard anything about this, but he is the first cisgendered straight male contestant on Drag Race.
What's his name?
And Maddie Morphosis.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cute. Her entrance look was, it was this black dress with like fire details, and she kind of was doing like a drag version of Guy Fieri, which I feel like is the perfect way for a straight drag queen to enter the workroom as Guy Fieri.
This is the first one that the show's ever had.
Yeah, and a lot of people. Kind of what I wanted to say about it is a lot of people are. One of my friends posted this tweet about how it's like they shouldn't be welcomed into the Drag Race community as a straight person, and basically like lamenting the idea of straight people taking space from queer culture. And I think that's crazy, first of all, because you're very much like kind of reducing this person down to who they sleep with, when clearly this person is a member of the queer community. Like, they do drag. And specifically, I wanted to talk about the way in which it was discussed on the show, the fact that he was straight, because this is a person who definitely, I feel like, must understand what it is and what it means to have to come out. Like, even though he is straight, I imagine he has to come out as a drag performer to his friends and to his family members. And especially after watching, we've now seen 15 years of Drag Race, where so often these queens talk about their relationships with their families, and they always start as being like, oh, I came out as gay and they were completely fine with it. Then I became a drag queen, and then they started to have issues with it. So like, not saying that he understands what it's like to be a gay person, but I do think he understands what it's like to be in queer spaces, what it's like to have to come out to people. Like, this person gets in drag and then leaves their house and gets on the subway or drives around in drag. So he lives in the world, which is a straight environment, as a queer person because of that. And we often talk about what it means to be outed and what it means to come out. And I feel like it's kind of accepted within the gay community. The standard is that everyone should be allowed to have their own coming out experience. And especially with like everything that's happened with Perez Hilton over the last like 5-10 years, where it's like, we've decided that it's not okay to out people. And in this space, and I know people might have a problem with the way I see this, but like, in this space, this straight person does have to come out in this space, because it is just like gay people have to come out in the world because it is assumed that they are straight until they come out as gay. This person is assumed to be gay and then has to come out as straight. And RuPaul literally like walked in the workroom and was like, oh, so you're straight, in front of all the other girls. And I thought it was kind of messed up that RuPaul seemingly like outed him and didn't allow him to come out in the way and in the time that he wanted to.
That sounds very intentional.
Oh, sure. But it almost felt like, we're going to make you uncomfortable because you're a straight person.
I mean, maybe that's what she was thinking. Who knows? Only she does.
Yeah.
But also, it's like,
I know, but
it's like, let's just cause this drama right now so that everyone knows and they can like all turn against you or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Makes for good. I mean, how many Emmys has that show won?
Plenty. I'm always excited when they do deserve so many Emmys, and I think it's incredible because it's the only show ever that put forward 15 queer people on a television show and made them all stars. And also, like, not only are there queer people, but they're also mostly very femme men, which also, like, that's an even smaller subset of the queer community. So we love Drag Race, but like that was just my 2 cents on the controversy that's been going around.
Let's see how well she does.
I'm excited. She also just posted a picture of her kind of cosplaying. Do you remember the Comfy Couch show from the 90s with the clown Lunette?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, maybe that was just like my childhood, but he just like cosplayed one of those looks, which I thought was really cute. Do you want to show your video of bingo?
Yeah, so you guys, here's 3 minutes of what it was like the other night when everybody at my table won at least $100. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, and Bob, you're going to be gone when we get back, so bye.
Bye.
We'll see you next week in Palm Springs.
I think they call me Birdstein, you fucking asshole. Birdstein. I'm done. Hello! We're back! Wish me luck. Where's your enthusiasm? First bull. You can pay to applaud the man. He just won absolutely nothing. No! Come here, I'm gonna give you something special. Oh, 69! Now I really shit my pants. He just won $100! Thank you, darling. Congratulations. Let me give you a little gift. X marks the spot. We're gonna play X marks the spot. It's a free game.
You're at their wedding.
So that would be what?
I-29,
Yep.
I-27,
Uh-huh.
I-24,
Uh-huh.
I-26, N40,
Yeah.
N35,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
N31,
What?
31, G58,
Yep.
G55,
Uh-huh.
G50,
Ooh.
G48,
That's correct.
G54,
You got it.
067,
Yep.
061,
Sure. No, I'm looking. Yeah.
075,
Why not? Oh, 7. Oh, you just won $18 billion. Congratulations. After tipping me in taxes, you won about $8.
Wow.
Thank you so much for coming on the bingo. See you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of fun. Hang out with Tiki on Wednesdays at Little Bar. I think it starts at 9 o'clock for bingo, but you can kind of come and go, pop in, have a cocktail, buy a bingo card. Yeah. Thanks for coming out from behind the camera, Mark.
Hi.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm sure y'all know, but like Mark has been our cameraman, man behind the camera since day one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's always like pantomiming to us, charades, prompting us, telling us when we look bad on camera.
Which is often.
Very often. But thanks for stepping out from behind the camera this morning.
Thanks for having me out. It's nice to be out on this side.
Yeah. Let's kind of start with our standard question. How long have you been in P-Town?
I have been coming here since 1991.
Uh-huh.
Almost all summers since 91. And then I moved here full time 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, no way.
To be here year round, which is what I knew I always was going to do.
Mhm.
I took care of my mom for a couple of years and then was able to be like, when she was gone, I was like, okay, now I can do this.
Mhm.
So, and I absolutely love it and recommend to anyone to become part of this community year round. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
But you kind of have your hands in so much stuff that's going on all around town. One of my favorite things that you produce is kind of, it seemingly is now the de facto townie favorite party, which is church over at Grotto Bar.
Yeah.
Obviously it went through some, like, got canceled.
Yeah,
because of
totally can't. No one
Yeah.
wants to be in an unventilated room with like a 7-foot ceiling.
Yeah.
During COVID.
No.
Not a thing.
But I wanted to thank you first of all for doing that kind of one night only church. Got bumped upstairs. That was really cute. Do you see a future for church?
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. We'll see. I mean, that place, Jen White used to manage that place. Now Oriana Conklin does. And well, soon to not be, but congratulations on your new venture.
Yeah.
But they wanted to do an event after Scott decided he didn't want to do Kook anymore. And Jen was like, hey, do you want to do something on Sunday nights? And I was like, yes, I just have one rule. Like, I will not be doing performances. We won't be stopped. Like, this will just be a dance party. And, it will be old school music. And I just want to have it like a fun, everybody vibe. And it was very successful and got almost too successful where you're like, I don't want to be the person like with a line out the door telling Chrissy Turlington she shouldn't come in because, she's going to get her maxi dress stepped on or whatever, which did happen. Yeah, I mean, I love the vibe there and I hope to be able to do it again. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're in the middle of a not fun circumstance right now where I couldn't even bring it back if I wanted to. I don't want to dance to the mask. I don't think anyone else wants to.
No.
Once we get through this, we might see a pop up here or there over the winter, and then hopefully we'll be back in the summer.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. My favorite thing about church was it was always like the cool kids were always like leaning on the banister. And it was always such like a Provincetown scene out there.
It's the best part is that we had that outdoor patio space.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that little tiny room gets overwhelming, but then you go out in the patio and it's just like, there's as many people outside as there is inside.
Mhm.
So it does just feel like, oh, I haven't seen that person all week. And now I get to see that person once a
Yeah,
week. So
exactly.
It's super fun.
Another place you might have seen Mark is moving stuff around on the Showgirls stage. How long have you been doing that with Showgirls?
That's it's 20 some odd years on and off. We've had our moments of being fired or me taking a break.
It's P-Town.
Exactly. I love doing that. And
Yeah.
Drag wrangling is a skill that I have.
Yeah.
It's great, and it will be exciting. Everybody knows this now. It'll be exciting that this is coming back. Showgirls will be back at the Crown this year, Monday nights. So it'll be fun. I don't know how much I will be wrangling since I'm an employee of the Crown now, but we'll see. Willing to do anything to make it happen. I'm very excited for everybody to have that come back. So.
And you're excited to be a full-time employee at the Crown?
I'm very excited. I am the assistant GM at the Crown Anchor, which saying those words probably for the first time out loud.
Could you imagine if someone told you 5 years ago you were going to be doing that?
No, absolutely not. But I'm really excited to work with Jonathan and the rest of the people there, and Danny and Andrew and the old staff, not the old staff, although there are some old people there. No, the current staff, which is staying, which is exciting because they're all very hardworking. They know how that place operates, and they are very excited to have a new work environment to come into, and I look forward to seeing what we could do. Jonathan is and Paolo are very committed to making sure it remains a queer space, but open to everyone. Everyone feels comfortable coming there. We really want to get some more women involved in different parties. We want to keep young queer people coming in. There's going to be a lot more programming for a younger demographic because, there's only so many 6-year-old white men that you can program for. And we got to look to the future.
Yeah.
And the future of Provincetown is hopefully to become or remain queer, but also to be younger and people of color and women and everybody like the family that exists around the brewery, which is a family and a community family. And we want to make sure that energy is also at the Crown and Anchor.
Yeah. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished just in the 2 months since y'all have been in charge. Some of the most fun parties that I've been to in Provincetown, some of the most exciting things I've seen. Just it's clear that you guys have an eye on making sure that you're being diverse, giving people opportunities, and it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, through the Washington Festival, like a lot of the stuff that we were doing there that being produced with the brewery guys. Like to see that many people of color perform in one space, and people and the Red Room as well, and people were like, "Oh, wow, I never knew about this young queer artist," especially people of color, and giving them a voice, giving them a venue, and that's certainly we're going to be doing the Washington Festival again this year. Yeah. I think with the same partners, which would be great, and it's exciting because I am 55. I don't know any of these people, and I was excited to be like, "Oh, I don't know these people," and being like, "Wow." There is all of this out there that I need to educate myself on because this is not my circle or my world, and I'm really happy to be part of it. Most of my friends are you guys in your 30s, and it's it keeps me young.
We love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the project you've got going on. I've seen it popping up all over town. Your Winter Windows project. Yeah. First one was at Cafe Heaven.
So for a year, since I moved here, I've been coming here in the winter to visit various boyfriends or whatever over the years. And moving here full time a few years ago, I was like, God, it's beautiful here in the winter. We all know that, and there is a beauty in the emptiness, but also, girls, tumbleweeds blowing down the street in January, which is fine. There's part of that recharge, and there is all of that. But we are a town of artists, or we bill ourselves as an artist community. And, the store owners, a lot of store owners just okay, we're done for the season, boop, lock it down, throw some paper up in the windows and be done with this. And we'll see you in the spring, which fully understand, people are just taking their breaks. But when you walk down Commercial Street in February and it's brown paper and shutters and whatever in the middle of the street, it's just blah. I know I'm here all year, and I know this is the choice I've made, but it just shouldn't look destitute. It shouldn't look like what is going. So, and we are trying to grow a year-round community of people coming to town as tourists.
Totally.
Our business is open year-round, and it shouldn't look to the people that come here who may not come here in the winter. Oh, this place is a ghost town. It's empty. There's nothing to look at. So a few years ago, I was thinking, oh, what would be cool would there should be art in the windows. There should be no brown paper closing up, blah, blah. And I thought about this for a couple of years. And interestingly enough, in one of the Hamptons towns, all of the big expensive stores came in, bought leases out from underneath locals businesses that have been there because they could afford it. Coach can spend $7,000 a week for the rent or whatever. When the pandemic hit, those were the first businesses to close. So in the Hamptons, a very expensive community, there were giant windows in stores empty. And the Hamptons said, no, we're not having this. They made an ordinance that said, you as a landlord, as an owner of this property, cannot have empty windows, can't have soaked up windows, can't have brown paper in your windows. You are going to provide your window space to whoever you want, or we'll hook you up with artists so that there will be life in these windows. And I obviously do not want that to happen here as far as an ordinance goes, but I'm trying to reach out to the business community and the artist community to be like, hey, if you're going to be closed for 4 months, let's have something in the window.
Totally.
So I came up with this idea last year, just kind of didn't do anything about it this year. Quinn, I worked at Cafe Heaven doing the Halo party, and Quinn was like, all right, his whole thing was like, I want to give the girls some dignity. I don't want to walk by this closed business with chairs up on the tables, but he takes pride in that business. He's like, I have to make some curtains or whatever. It's like, hey, look, I have this idea, I want to do it. And he was like, all right, when are we going to get these windows? And then they kept running the party longer and longer. And I was like,
Right.
all right, after New Year's, let me get the crown open.
And that,
all of
that
this
party
stuff.
was already crazy enough. Could you imagine if you didn't have people watching you from the street to keep you in check?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I told Quinn, hey, I want to do this thing. And he's like, yeah, I had at it. And he had last year had artists from the 411 gallery and work up in the window as a way to, give it some vibrancy. So I was like, hey, I have this idea. He said, go for it. So Paul Rizzo is my boyfriend, and Benji Weintraub. I was like, hey, I have this vision of what I want the windows to look like. Let's do this project. Gaston Lacombe has this gorgeous printer, which we did archival prints on it, which that's very expensive. We'll be downgrading the paper quality after that. But the first window we did was Cafe Heaven, and everybody was like, oh my God, this looks incredible and fun, vibrant, and there's color in the middle of town and whatever. And then Jonathan, when the Crown was closed for its little winter hiatus, he's like, oh, let's do a window here. So Gaston has a piece in the window of the box office at the Crown and Anchor. And then I kind of put those things up on Facebook. I was like, hey, anybody else want to join in the fun on this? And then Peter Balboni from the Black Dog, he's the new manager of the Black Dog in Provincetown. He was like, oh, I want to do it. And I thought of Greg Salvatore, who takes dog portraits. And I was like, hey, Greg, do you want to do something in this window? He was all down with it. So we just installed that yesterday.
No way.
Then Jack Kelly from the Post Office Cabaret wants to be involved. So I have a little preview, one of the pictures of what's going up in the window. Donna Pomponio, who's one of the artists.
Love her.
We had on the show. She is doing a piece for the thing, Life is a Cabaret. And there's going to be featured a portrait of Alona, who everybody who lives here remembers Alona. She lived to be 100. She used to perform at the Eyelash Cabaret upstairs with Zoe Lewis in the space. So we're going to have a nice portrait of her in the window. And then these other things that Donna has drawn out in charcoal and stuff. So going in the future, I'm going to be working with the people at the Commons, with Jill and with David, to get some more artists involved and get some grants to pay for this, because right now it's coming out of my pocket. Yeah, I think it's going forward, and maybe it'll be something that we can actually get hey, it's the first week of February. Let's have this weekend where we unveil these windows or whatever, and make it an event.
Yeah.
And if you are a business owner and you are used to just putting brown paper in your window, there are poets in this town. There are writers in this town. We could just have someone with a Sharpie write a poem on the brown paper. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Totally.
It just shouldn't be lifeless windows with shutters. I mean, we do live here. Even if you're in Florida or wherever, those of us that live here want to see some life and some beauty. So,
and also people come to visit, and I mean, even living here, one of my favorite things to do is just to kind of stroll down Commercial Street. And in the winter, it still is amazing, but to have more things to look at, more lively things, bright things, it's just a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we're not trying to make this you store owner, we want you to spend this much money. It's not a lot of money. And I do pay, some artists are being paid if they're producing original work and whatever, and I want them to be paid for it. We're using your work. And so I hope that through the various organizations in town and arts organizations, public art, new nonprofit that put the mural on the Marine Specialties building. Hopefully you're listening.
Yeah.
Get some funding to do this and make it more of a community event, or just everyone, if anyone has an idea, storefront, whatever, let's make it happen. And if you're not open till April, that's still 3 months of looking at a blank window. You can get in touch with me through Facebook, and I'm more than happy to work something out. The Black Dog is opening in February, so it was really only a 2.5 weeks, 3 week period. So we didn't print up anything or do any specific thing. But Gray has these sword portraits, and Doggy Style is up in that window. Cute. So we'll make it work.
That's really exciting. Yeah. I think that's a really great idea as well.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for walking the 5 feet and sitting down.
Well, Ethan's there working on behind the camera.
Totally. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down with me. We'll see you next Friday right here.
Well, no, you won't. You'll be in Palm Springs.
Oh, geez. Who are going to work our camera there?
I don't know.
No, I literally don't know. Well, thank you so much all for watching. Thank you so much to our sponsors, the Adam Howard Metal Workshop, Project Valor Sailing, Be Well Cannabis, Cafe Heaven, and the Red Inn. And thanks for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
There we go. We'll see you next Friday from Palm Springs. Thanks for watching, guys.